everyone, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video, and something I want to be very consistent, or let's say more consistent about, is sharing what's going on here in my, what I call my family chapters album. And there are several videos here already on the YouTube channel, and I can link some below, but this is what replaced my project life a couple years ago, and it is utilizing the Storyline Chapters Insert, Scrapbooker Insert, which is 7.5 inches wide, 9 inches tall. Pretty compact page size, right? But it is what's become my home now for my weekly pages, or at least I'm really trying to make that be the case. So this is February when this particular video is landing, and I've only just started January, but I'm pretty excited because I actually have a couple of weeks in here, and that is progress for me. So using my word of the year, I'm going to celebrate that I have a couple weeks in here already, and just try and keep things as simplified as possible in getting these weeks and these stories in this album. So allow me just to take a moment here to walk through a little bit what I have so far, and which is not much. And then maybe I will even do a process video. We'll see how this goes, because I haven't quite thought out the next page yet. So I have already shared with you this hello intro page, hello 2022, using some scrapbook.com dies. This is just a great, it's supposed to be for cards. I have always taken their card dies and turned them into something for my scrapbook page, and that's what I've done here as well. Then the 2022, of course, and I got the right date. Aren't you proud of me? Yay! Yes, we're proud of you. And that's also a number die set from scrapbook.com. This beautiful butterfly is from Vicki Bouton's Fernwood. It's a specialty paper, actually, and I trimmed out this gold foil butterfly. And then some of these sprigs that you see me using everywhere. So that's kind of what opens up this book with a big intro page for 2022. Then, kind of going off, you know, here's the thing, something I want to share. Sometimes I can be a snob about how I put my pages together. And let me explain that. Meaning, you know, Jamie, you always have a grid over here and you have the big story over here. Don't change that up. And that's false. I don't want to live within this narrative that I've created for myself. So I started off this book immediately with just something in a way that I wanted to start out this book. And this was, I think, this wasn't the first day of the year, but it was the first week of the year. And I took this photo while I was out on the trail walking, and literally no filter. It just turned out this way. And I loved it so much. And this photo really spoke to me, just how I titled it, New Day. Oh, and let me segue for a second, because I do get questions about the different things that I use in here. So I want to make sure I share that with you, because I use in here what I'm super excited about. And I'm actually pretty excited about this Brooklyn Scrapbook.com alpha set. It's an open, as you can tell, it's an open alpha. There's upper, there's lower. Loa, that's a new alphabet. I just made that right now. It'll be in my shop soon. No, all kidding aside, it's a lowercase and it's open, and I combined them both here. It's just how it worked out best for this title. But there's a Toby Mac song that's New Day on the Horizon, and I just love the fact that there is an On the Horizon sticker in the Fernwood collection. So that just worked out. I didn't have any plan that. I literally accidentally came across that. So that was fun. Then over here, I am enjoying this particular format. And I did this a little bit in that fall book that I did this last fall season. And in that book, I did big photo on this side, and then more of an embellishment kind of style here. And I just kind of swapped it here. Big photo on this side, some title work, a little bit of clustered embellishment. And then over here, a little bit more embellishing, but this is where the story is sitting. This is where I wrote my journaling. So I just made these tags with the nested tag dies from scrapbook.com, and then I tied them all together, and then I adhered the last one to my page, so then these all flip up. And I'm still of the mindset of maybe adding some more, maybe just even definition stickers or word phrases or stamps. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure I'm done with this, which is often the case. I do have this washi here, Find Beauty Everywhere, which is just perfect theme for even my one word. I just love how everything is playing nicely together right now. I cut this from a journaling cutaway on one of her pattern papers. And I think this little paper here is from Paige Evans, and then that's a sticker from Fernwood. So I loved how this page, I don't know, it just really speaks to me. And that's what our albums need to do for you guys too. These pages need to speak to you when you come across a page. Sometimes you're going to have some bummer pages, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I don't really love how that one turned out. That's okay. Redo it or just embrace it. Those are your choices. Redo it or embrace it. Okay, now this is the first week. I think I only have 1 week in here. Well, I take that back. I have something in here I can't show you yet. It's coming soon. Sorry, teaser. Okay, so this page here is my classic How My Family Chapters albums look for the most part, with a few aberrations here and there. And that's part of the creativity, right? So a grid page is usually on the left, and that's like my week in the life, project life. It's just some random look at the week. There's no particular story being told there. There's several stories. And I have on my notes, I still need to write up my journaling that I'll do on a separate piece of paper, and then I'll add it right under this flap. But that's kind of how I generally go about these grid pages. Is a grid, obviously, typically about a 9-space grid. Sometimes I have 3 spaces open, almost always 2, because I always want to save a space for the date. And to me, it's important to know what week it was. And sometimes I'll even put week 1. I didn't do that here. But then I almost always have a dedicated journaling space. And I kind of just like magazine style, like one picture is this, and then I'll write about the second picture. I'll just kind of go in order. That's just my way. Sometimes that changes up. Okay, then over here is then what I call on the right side is the big story, right? Big story, big picture is just like something from the week that when I went through my photos, and I take my photos from my phone, I take my photos from my camera, because I do still take with my big camera, and I process through and get them organized into my folders on my computer, and I keep them all on an external drive so they're nice and safe. When I go through that week's photos again, there's almost always a photo that stops me in my tracks, and I know that's the story I really want to tell. That's the big story of the week. This was the big story of this week. First week of my mom and chemo and figuring everything out with that. And it's a significant part of my story. And so it needed to be part of these pages. So I took this 6x8 pattern paper from Market Square. So do you ever order anything and then you get it and you're like, I don't remember ordering that? That's totally what this was. I'm like, did I order this? Yeah, that's what happens when you put things in your cart for a very long time. And then like a month later, you're like, oh, maybe I should actually order that now. Seriously, that's what happened. So I'm glad I ordered it. Some really pretty patterns in here. And I went ahead, and even though this is a winter page, I went with these peach and soft pink and gold hues to make it's still a winter page to me. I just changed up the colors, right? So I used a 6x8 pattern paper as my background. I don't do that often, but I really love this paper so much. I typed out a few thoughts on this photo. I used the Brooklyn for this. I don't know if you can see it. It's done with the Tattered Rose, and Tattered Rose is such a soft photo, but ink. But I didn't want it to overpower my page. I wanted to keep it real soft. I added a few pieces here to cluster my embellishments. So the home is from Simple Stories. A ticket, brand new. I just got those from Studio Calico. The snowflake is Tim Holtz, and I punched it out of textured cardstock. Live in the Here and Now is from Heidi Swap. It's one of her definition stickers. And then I added the date for this actual photo. And then I just literally had this little extra piece of scrap, and I just went about stapling it. I just thought it might have needed something else. I could probably still use something down here. But anyway, for the most part, I'm happy with this page, and I'm calling it good. So that takes us right into the next page, which has nothing in it yet. I tend to post-it note my pages so I know what weeks will go in them. I've had several questions about how many weeks do you try to get into one insert? And I attempt to get 3 months. I can have a couple pages left over, which I'm glad for, because then I have like extra room to do a page like this, which isn't your classic grid week and big story page. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So 3 is enough in one of these. I've learned from doing this for a couple years now. Okay, a couple things I want to show you now, and I think I'm just going to do a speed up process of this because I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. Now we're into January 9 through 15, and I'm going to show you, I think I'm going to make this template available in my shop. I haven't got that far yet, but this is obviously, I printed this out using the same dimensions on my photos that I've always used. This is 2 inches wide, and because I take so many photos in this portrait format, aspect ratio, when I resize my photos in Photoshop to 2 inches wide, it automatically just goes to 2.67 inches tall. So if you want to know how to size these, that's what they are. 2 inches by 2.67. Now I created this grid template in a layered format so that I could just easily drop my photos into the grid, and I don't have to cut them all out and put them on this page individually. While that doesn't sound like it's very time consuming, it kind of can be time consuming. And I told you at the beginning of this, I'm looking to simplify this down just a little bit more. And so that's what I decided to do here. It's just simplify this just a little bit more by creating a template for this. So that is the weekly story. And this will be my big picture story. And this time, instead of just one photo, I then also use this little photo strip to create a couple more photos that I wanted to add to this page. And like I said, I haven't quite figured out how this is going to completely format. I think I'll do a separate video. We'll call this part 1. I'll do a part 2. What I was just really hoping to do was just kind of give some background. Again, just kind of a back to basics. Here, let's just kind of reset what storytelling looks like in a weekly storyteller chapters insert, and kind of answer a couple questions that I've been getting at different times, and then share some of the pages that I already have in here. And I hope that gives you a little bit of insight and maybe a little bit of help to how you are going to tell your stories this year. If you have any questions, anything further I can expound upon, please let me hear from you down below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it so much. If you don't already subscribe, I'd love for you to be a subscriber here and do that. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video.